As promised, here's my review for Crash Team Racing for the Nintendo Switch. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
It's a me,
Dario!
Woohoo! Let's go!
So, I'm still not sure exactly how this review thing is going to work, but I did talk about it a little. I don't know if it was yesterday or before, that my friend Derek Sante, who I've had on the podcast before and who hooked me up with all the Comic-Con stuff, he's an entertainment reporter. He's starting his own website called reviewNation.net, and basically he reviews stuff, and he asked me to help him out reviewing some video games. If you've listened to the podcast at all, you know that I am a huge gamer, and I have a Switch, and so, seemed like a match made in heaven, right? Perfect. I get to play a game and I get to talk about it, but I don't know if it's going to be a part of the regular part of the podcast. I mean, it's what I did yesterday, and stupid computer. It's what I did yesterday, so it was part of my day, and I usually talk about the things that are on my mind. Now, I considered doing. I promised that I said I would do it. I think it was last week. The whole news story on Instagram where I leave a blank and you can ask me a question. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was going to be this week. It was going to be, what do I think about blank? And you can fill it in. I was going to do it in my Instagram story, but Instagram has been kind of a bitch lately. I've been trying to post stuff from Comic-Con yesterday and today, and so far I've been redoing it several times, and I've modified the amount of pictures that I'm putting into it, and 1 out of 10 has loaded. It's really, really annoying. So I decided, you know what? Screw that. And plus, I had to do this review anyway. So I decided, okay, you know what? I'll talk about the game. But so, okay, that's it. I just wanted to give the explanation for that. But let's get into it. So Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled is basically a remaster of the original Crash Team Racing, and it takes some elements from other Crash racing games, which is Crash Nitro Kart and Crash Tag Team Racing. So if you want to read my review, because writing is hard, man. Writing is hard. So if you want to read my review, it should be up on reviewNation.net soon. I'm not sure when, unless Derek just reads it and is like, this is complete garbage. You're a terrible writer and a terrible reviewer, and your opinions are stupid. So, which is possible. I mean, I just sent it in. But yeah, I put it in writing, and I don't want to just read what I wrote down, because I don't know. There's the way you sound in writing is not necessarily the way you sound when you speak. Like, for example, necessarily I would write it correctly, and here I couldn't even say it. Necessarily. Anyway, so I can be a little bit looser here. So it's a racing game pretty much, and it has Crash Bandicoot in it, and some of his friends and enemies, and also Spyro makes an appearance. So for those of you, Spyro the Dragon. Anyway, overall, this is what I think. Whenever I do a review, I like to open up with this, because this is what everybody cares about. Is it worth your money, right? And so for those of you who don't know, this is the way I look at money, and I'm assuming that, I think right now, what's the minimum wage in the U.S.? I think overall, it's, let's say, $10. So let's say minimum wage across the U.S., the average is $10, which the way that I look at money is that the amount of time I spent with your product should at least be equal to the amount of money it cost me. So for example, if this video game is worth $40, right? I just checked Amazon, it's $40. So if I make $10 an hour and it costs me $40, that means that it should entertain me for at least 4 hours. Therefore, I played the game for 4 hours, and I made my review based on those 4 hours. Okay? So is it worth your money based on that? Anything you make after that is a win. It's money in the bank. It's money you're getting for free, right? I hope my logic makes sense, but that's the way I've always looked at money. So if you look at it that way, and only judging by the first 4 hours, see if it's worth your money, this game definitely gives you bang for your buck. Overall, yes, definitely worth your money. If, A, you like racing games, and B, you don't take them too seriously. So let me explain a little. The main competition for this game, we all know it. It's on the Switch. we know what one of the most iconic racing games is that doesn't take itself seriously. Mario Kart, right? Mario Kart is the biggest name out there. Crash doesn't try to be Mario Kart. I mean, it's also cartoonish, but it's a little bit more difficult. Yeah, it has a higher level of difficulty, and honestly, in the feel, to me, it felt closer to Diddy Kong Racing, the N64 game, than it did to Mario Kart. Now, a few things that remind me of that in the story mode, or the adventure mode, as they call it in the Crash game. If you guys remember, in Diddy Kong Racing, you were free to move around on the stage. Then you found different levels. You had to gain keys after you pass certain levels so that you can defeat a boss of that level, which opens you up to another stage. So it's kind of like a story in itself, and you're exploring a world. This is the way that Crash's story mode works as well. You are on a stage. You are free to drive around. You can do whatever. You can explore. When you choose to complete a stage, or take on a new level, you gain a key, and then you have to defeat a boss to move on to the next stage. Very similar feel. But it also gives you the option to upgrade your weapons or your items midway through the race. Now, if you guys remember, in Mario Kart, it's always the same items, right? Whatever you get is what you get. However, in Diddy Kong Racing, you had like 3 different type of items, if I remember correctly. One was offensive, one was offense, one was defense, and I think one was speed. And if you got them via balloons. So let's say offense is red. So if you got 1 red balloon, you got 1 rocket. If you got 2, I think it was a heat seeker or something. And if you got 3 in a row, by the way, 3 red balloons in a row without shooting anything, I think you got like 3 rockets. I think that's how it was. I haven't played it since the N64. It's been a minute, so I think that's how it worked. Anyway, Crash doesn't do that exactly. What it does is it has crates. And from a crate, you get an item. And there's also other crates that gives you fruit. So if you're full of fruit, then your item automatically upgrades. So let's say you need to collect 10, I think, apples, right? Well, 10 pieces of fruit. And if you have, it's similar to the coins, but except it's fruit. And if you have the 10 pieces of fruit on you and nobody hits you, then whatever item you have gets automatically upgraded. So what you want to do is you want to try to collect the fruits, and you want to try to not get hit, or that's pretty much, because that'll make you, or crash in any way, because it'll make you lose all that stuff. And that way you will have an upgraded version of the same item. So let's say you got a bowling bomb, its blast radius is going to be wider. If you have a shield, it'll last a little bit longer. So stuff like that. That's pretty much how that works. The items are simple yet fun. You have a heat seeker missile, bowling bombs. You have a weird blue force. I don't remember how it's called, but it hits the whoever's in first place and everybody else on the way. You have a thing that slows time a little. So it has a lot of elements. But to me, the thing that was a lot of fun for this game in particular, well, first off, it's difficult. I played it in medium, and it took me a really long time to pass the second level. Now, I'm not the best racer. I'm not great at racing games, but I consider myself at least above average. Not great, above average. And on medium, it still took me quite a bit to complete the second level. And by that, I mean the second race. It was hard. It was really hard. And the reason why it was hard is because you need to understand a few of the game's mechanics in order to beat the game. So let me explain that a little. The game has a certain mechanic that it gives you speed boosts if you do several things. For example, if you jump during like a bump or something that gives you a little bit of air, when you land, you will go faster, right? That's pretty straightforward. However, in this game, when you drift your car, if you're doing it correctly and for a long enough amount of time, you will have the option of getting another speed boost. And you can stack this up all the way up to 3. So if you're drifting and you're doing it correctly and you time it out correctly, you can stack up to 3 speed boosts, and the third one gives you like an extra bump. And if you so basically, the game rewards you with speed. By the way, the carts are super fast. They're way faster than other than other types of racing games that are cartoonish like this one. Super fast. The game's really fast-paced. But anyway, so the game rewards you with speed, though, if you're driving in a riskier way, which is awesome. I mean, drifting is not easy, and it's not safe, and you can't do it everywhere, but you have to try, because otherwise you'll never catch up. So you're never really out of it, but you're never really comfortably in the lead, if that makes any sense. I remember I was in one race, I was in first place, last place, first place, last place, first place. In the same race, and the track wasn't even that long. So it's very, very competitive. It's very enjoyable, and it takes you a minute to get used to it. Once you do, at first I tried just playing it safe. You know, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna do it straight up. I'm not gonna risk any of these things, and I just couldn't pass that level. It's like, okay, you gotta let loose. You gotta take risks. You gotta try to understand the game. So the learning curve is, you know, you necessarily have to learn pretty quickly. Once you do, then you can be competitive, and it's still not a guarantee that you're always going to win. It's still pretty hard. But if you like harder games that challenge you, you're going to enjoy it. That I know that was the favorite part of me. Every single victory was very sweet. It was like, yes, I beat you. It was never annoying. You know how some games you feel like, this thing is broken. I can't catch up with that guy because that guy's just made faster than all the other characters. It's not even fair. If he's freaking lapping me by like 3 laps, it's not even fair, and it's only 3 laps. This one, it doesn't feel that way. Like I said, you always feel like you're kind of in it, and different characters have different stats. There's 3 stats that matter: acceleration, speed, and turn. So, and they show you what the stats of each character are. So when you're picking a character, you know what you're getting. So if you want to go all in on speed, you're going to lose a little bit of acceleration and a little bit of turn. If you Crash, I just used Crash because he was balanced and he's the main character, and that's for the purposes of this review. I just stuck with Crash. Crash is very balanced, but still, there's certain tracks where if you let somebody who has a lot of speed just get away from you, you're gonna be in for a rough time. So what you need to do is you have to know, okay, this character has a lot of speed. So from the very beginning, if I have a missile, instead of shooting somebody else who might be a more convenient shot or who might be in first place at that moment, you shoot the person who you know that if they let loose, you're screwed. Now, if it's a track where you have a lot of twists and turns and you have to have a lot more skill, then you go for that type of character, well, either using them or taking them down. So it adds an extra level of strategy. You need to plan things out a little. I find all those things very enjoyable. You have 26 characters to pick from. I have no idea how many stages are because I have not seen all of them. I had a lot to still go through. So, it's also what I enjoyed is that it's on the Switch, which you can play anywhere. That's the beauty of the Switch, man. The beauty of the Switch is that you can just play it anywhere. There's no limitations. There's no nothing. If you want to play with a random stranger, you can with the split screen, or you can play on the big screen with other friends. Any game that has split screen, I'm all up for. Or you can play online with the people. It's a lot of fun. I love my Switch so much. It makes even having the same game. You can have the same game on an Xbox and on the Switch. You'll enjoy the Switch more. It's right now, like I said, I've mentioned this before. The Switch is kicking every console's ass right now. Like most racing games, like I said before, it has different game modes. It pretty much, it's a standard racing game of that type. You got adventure mode, local arcade, online Grand Prix. Now, the arcade mode has the battle mode. I found it really, really fun. It's not just simple, just shooting items at one another to see who was the last man standing. You have that option, but here they added some collaborative things, like you can team up for a capture the flag type of thing or a gem collection. So it adds a little extra elements to it, which makes it fun. Or you can just go out and shoot at each other. It's fine. You know what? Whatever. You do you, bro. You do you. So overall, I highly recommend the game if you are into racing games that don't take itself seriously. And by that I mean there's certain games where people get upset where they want to make it as real as possible, and if you like crash into them or something or play dirty, they get upset. what I love about these games, the cartoonish ones, is that you are not only allowed to do it, you are encouraged to do it. You are supposed to do it. You're supposed to attack each other. You're supposed to inconvenience each other. You're supposed to mess with each other. That is part of the fun. That's what makes it extra enjoyable. That's what makes it a better experience. It's just like, you know what? It's the only rule is whoever gets there first wins. So whatever. Also, great. I don't know if I should say this. Whatever. Great drinking game. So I love these types of racing games because sometimes you can play. There's different rules. I can get into it later a little bit more, but pretty much it's like if you're racing against somebody. I don't know. This one's pretty fast, but what we've played in other games, what we do is you have a drink, and if you finish the race before you finish your drink, you have to take a shot because you lost. So yeah, I used to do that. It was a lot of fun, and these types of games, great for that type of game. So yeah, in conclusion, overall, the game is a great remake, a fantastic remake. Oh, well, I'm sorry, not a remake, a remaster. Because it took other elements, it made it better. It took something that was good, it was great already, and they made it even better. So it's a great throwback to a classic. It's very entertaining. It's very challenging yet rewarding. It has great replay value, and so it also has a lot of cartoonish charm. So highly recommend it if you're into that type of racing game. Definitely worth your time and definitely worth your money. So that's it. That's it for today. That's how I'm finishing off the week. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully you found that useful. Hopefully you'll check out the website. And any comments, questions, or suggestions, also you can find me on Instagram at Dario the Show. And I realized that I forgot to say that you can also find the podcast in the iHeartRadio app. Just type in the show presents Super Dario World, or you can find it on iTunes, YouTube, and SoundCloud. I forgot. I completely forgot. I was too busy doing this. And yeah, you can check out the article pretty soon. It should be up pretty soon on live. I'm completely lost. I completely lost it. What was I even saying? Yeah, on reviewNation.net. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of my writing. Should I just stick to talking? Should I shut up on both? I don't know. Anyway, Monday I will continue with the Game of Thrones rewrite, so you can look forward to that. As always, thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great weekend.